All right, I want to welcome everybody to Blackhawk Engagement Solutions Super Subscribers webinar. Today we're going to share some highlights from our extensive study. Just a really quick background on Blackhawk Engagement Solutions if you're not as familiar with us. We are a division of Blackhawk, which is the largest provider, or one of the largest providers, I would say the largest provider in the world of gift cards. If you walk into a grocery store anywhere in the United States and around the world and you buy gift cards for friends and families, that is Blackhawk. We are the B2B division. We work with Fortune 500 companies. We work with about 85% of the Fortune 100, creating solutions that while they might use gift cards, we have all sorts of platforms focused on businesses that sell directly to consumers, also businesses that are interested in engaging and motivating and training their employees, and businesses that focus on their sales channels and need assistance with that. Our study today is heavily focused on subscription-based services, and so we will kick that off. And if you have questions, you will be able to reach out to me. We've got contact information here. But my email address will be appearing at the end, but it's rodney.mason@bhengagement.com. And before we begin, I just want to give you a really quick overview. Our discussion today will be about 35 minutes in totality, and we're going to cover quite a few things. Before I give you that overview, though, I just want to invite you to follow us on our social media. We've got 2 Twitter handles. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Pinterest, and Facebook. We have a big social following, and we regularly stream not only our research, but other industry news, and our clients, friends and family, especially our moms, think we're pretty awesome, and they like reading all the stuff that we put out there. Just a joke about the moms. Anyway, an overview really quickly. So the things that we're looking at here today, we'll discuss cable, internet, telco, and even some CPG products. And one of the big things that we're finding in subscription services is that the old days of the triple play and quadruple play and all the bundling are starting to unwind. We've identified key motivators that will get people to change their behaviors to the advantage of subscription services. We're looking at the internet, particularly internet broadband service, but also entertainment content and what's happening there and how that's starting to migrate into more of a direct subscription service outside of the cable world, also CPG. We've got a very extensive drill down into telco. We will provide highlights from that, and if you're interested in a more custom view of any of our research, including the telco drill down, particularly the wireless telco drill down, we'd be happy to schedule a one-on-one session with you and share more insights. Also, streaming content, we've got a very exclusive study that we did. We're going to share a little bit of that information. We specifically did it on HBO Now, which is a standalone product sold outside of the cable world. As we go through the research, you'll understand why we did that. And you know, mark my words now, you've already seen this past week ESPN has big layoffs, and they're admitting that their subscriber base is dwindling, which is what we're finding across the board. You're going to see a lot more streaming content and more opportunities to partner with these folks through wireless telco and also through broadband internet in spaces that were always covered by cable before. And then we'll do a quick recap of some of the findings. So we should be done somewhere around 11:35 or 11:40. So hold on to your hats. Here we go. All right. Just a quick snapshot, and we'll click through a couple pages here. As far as our methodology, we always do national studies. Our super subscriber screen represents the U.S. population by age, income, ethnicity. We spoke to 1,757 respondents. This is all the United States. We did actually talk to folks in Canada as well, but we pulled them out to be statistically valid for this national study. You can go ahead. And so some of the initial findings, First and foremost, the old days of telephone being the dominant subscription service is no longer the case. Internet now is the #1 subscription service that consumers buy. 89% of all adult consumers in the United States subscribe to Internet, which is pretty amazing when you think back in the days of the AOL dial-up and you had 10 or 15%. And even a few years ago, you were in the 60s or 70s, and now the Internet has really taken over. And it's just going to continue because it's changing behavior so much. Cell phone plans, surprisingly, are 83% of all of the participants in our survey had a cell phone plan. Cable television has shrunk. It's down to 74% of all homes now have cable television. Streaming TV or movies. So you go back 3 or 4 years ago, this number was in the single digits. Now 51% of all adults in the United States stream or do on-demand or digital type movies. What's interesting about that, if you look at what's happening to cable, in the old days, premium packages used to be dominant, but basic cable packages now are almost the size of premium cable packages. Basic cable doesn't include the likes, typically include the likes of ESPN. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But it definitely doesn't include HBO and other folks. So as that premium cable package audience is getting smaller and people are migrating to basic cable, you can see that streaming is actually bigger than either one of those individually. So people are supplementing their premium cable with online subscription services. That's just sort of a macro view. We're going to look at some different motivators. So one of the first motivators we wanted to look at is, and I'm going to ask a question. If you guys, anybody that's on the call, I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. I always like to check in on that. I assume that we can. So if you can't hear me, you can respond through this webinar and just let me know. I assume that everybody can hear just fine. As far as motivators that are driving people to purchase Internet or select an Internet provider, there's a 3x preference for a $100 prepaid card. So we asked the question, hey, you just moved into a new home and you're looking for an Internet provider, and there's 2 companies offering the same service for $50 per month with a 2-year contract. Which one of these offers would make you choose one provider over the other? And we put some different things in there. We put, $10 off for the first 7 months, a free tablet when you sign up, which a lot of people have a lot of value in. That's typically valued at about $150, even sometimes up to $200. A $100 gift card that you could spend at a popular retailer, or a $100 prepaid card. The vast majority chose that $100 Visa prepaid card, and that is the dominant tool that's being used in the space. But we do think that the industry can do a better job with price elasticity and actually understanding the dollar amounts and the messaging that goes along with those offers, because we think in some cases they're overpaying and other times they're underpaying. In other words, they're offering a reward that's too small or too large to pull in the audience size that they're looking for. What's interesting here is, people will say, well, the $10 off the bill for the first 7 months, that's only $70. Of course, they're going to choose the $100 prepaid card. We do a lot of offers like this for a lot of providers in the industry, and there's breakage on those post-purchase redemptions. So a $100 prepaid reward typically would cost about the same as a $10 off $70 reward. So that's why we put those in there, because as a marketer or seller of services, those costs are the same, but you can see for the same spend, you can pull in more with that prepaid card because you can put out a richer offer. There's also 3x preference for a new provider paying termination fees. So you're unhappy with your Internet service provider, everything's the same. What if you had an existing plan and you want to switch for a better offer? If the old provider pays your termination fees, any associated termination fees, would that be appealing? And that was very appealing to them. Again, we do this for our clients, and using a rules-based validation process will reduce fraud and also provide a lot of cross-selling opportunities. There is some breakage in it just because people don't follow up with it, so you get some efficiencies out of the cost. but it's really important to validate those competitive products. And if left to your sales reps and your customer services groups versus using a true validation process, it can cost you a lot more, and there's a lot of theft and pilfering, as we found. So bundled deals used to dominate. They're starting to break up a little bit. We did do a study in 2014. Bundled deals are still really big. And we said, okay, if you're looking for a bundle deal, this would be cable, internet, TV, all together. Typically, how does the consumer shop? What we identified, and we actually have this by age, income, ethnicity, and geography, but overarching, the customer takes about 3 to 6 days to make their decision when they're buying any kind of bundle. And again, that's internet, wireless, regular landline telephone, cable, any of those bundled together. They only usually look at 1 to 2 competitors because they're busy, and they'll go to the ones that they know. They'll start their research on the provider's websites, which is good if you're in the consideration set. It's not so good if you're not in that consideration set. But right after they go to a couple providers, they will look on Google. Then they'll go to the provider store, or they'll tend to call. Usually it's a phone call, an in-person. We did ask about click-to-talk and other things that you can do online, and those weren't really popular. And then the last thing they do, which is sort of ironic, is that Amazon's not a big seller of services, but they'll even check on Amazon before they make their purchase. And one of the things we found in this study is along that path in those 3 to 6 days, the consumer is very savvy on the price of bundles. And they're really looking for any variation that might pop up over those 3 to 6 days. They quickly identify what the prices are early on, but then they're looking for that variation, much like how they book travel and other things where it's all time sensitive, day sensitive, by the hour sensitive. So they're just sitting there waiting, and in that 3 to 6 day period they go, okay, well, these are the prices, this is the best we can do, and we'll go ahead and make our decision. That is a gigantic opportunity for any subscription-based service to jump in with a dynamic offer. So if they opt in for the cookies, and you know they've come back quite a few times, the old travel site hooks that you can put out there, you can use time-sensitive dynamic price rebates or post-purchase incentives to disrupt the path to purchase. And what that means is you can give them a little better offer. You might throw in an extra $25 or an extra $50 and say, if you buy right now, or if you buy in the next hour while you're here on our website, we know you've been here 2 or 3 times, this is a one-time offer. If you buy right now, we'll close this deal. And that will pull people out of that 3 to 6 day consideration set. It will actually disrupt it. And doing that with a post-purchase incentive actually helps you offer an extra $50 for, say, $25 or $30 in your actual cost. So it's a very effective tool. We put it in research. We've actually put it out in the market, and it's a great way to disrupt the market. Second thing is, or next thing is movies in minutes. So 2 times consumers prefer online or digital movie delivery by 2x. 57% watch online with a streaming service or other digital delivery option like on-demand cable. 29% rent or buy the movie from a store or kiosk, and 15% rent or buy online through a retailer. I've spent a lot of time in the entertainment industry actually working with the movie studios, and I remember a day just a few years ago when these numbers were nothing like this. You know, people were still buying the DVDs in store, etc. This is a gigantic opportunity, though, for cable providers, because the opportunity is you've got a lot of folks migrating to basic cable, but you have an on-demand product. Most of you have on-demand products built in, and so we've actually run price elasticity with consumers and said, hey, if you have basic cable and your cable provider gave you an all-you-can-eat for on-demand for $10 or $15 a month, or at least, you know, a nice bundled deal, would you buy that? And the vast majority said that they would consider that would be something that would be very interesting and intriguing to them. And if you think about it, for on-demand, most customers only buy maybe 1 or 2 movies a month if you're lucky, if you're a cable operator, and I know because I've worked with most of them. But by bundling, you're driving your ARPU per user, People know that they have it, so it's another resource like a Netflix that supplements their cable. And then there's a chance to cross-sell. So anytime they're watching those on-demands, you can push the Pacquiao fight and the other big events that are incremental spends. And it's a good way to take that basic base and buoy the baseline of that basic subscriber base. 67% of consumers want a free 1-month trial. So a free 1-month trial for any kind of movie product, streaming online, you know, a service like Netflix or HBO Now, that is the hook that attracts consumers. But as you'll see in our HBO drill down, there are a lot of ways to spin that, and there's actually some great opportunities to quickly turn them into monthly subscribers versus just having them buy month to month. We did a drill down in the music industry as music streaming is really starting to take off. And by far, if you can offer a $10 prepaid card for signing up, that drives the most consideration. We've got a lot more detail on this. We know we've got some folks from that industry on the call, and we can talk to you more about this. But here's the ranking of the music streaming services that are used by the general population. And we actually have this by age, income, and ethnicity, so you can really see how iTunes compares to Google Play. You know, you've got SiriusXM, which is just 16% of the population, but they pay the most for that service. So that's a really rich, nice service to have, where a Pandora, a lot of those folks are streaming for free. So there's some great insights here and some great drivers. But for across the board, the motivator that will drive most people to subscribe to these services is a simple reward at sign up, a $10 reward. And that's not a gift card for additional music or services. That's a straight out $10 Visa prepaid card. And then this was nice and surprising. In the CPG space, you're starting to see a lot of tools like Amazon Dash. Procter & Gamble has, you know, a diaper club. There's the Dollar Shave clubs. There's Target subscriptions. This category is really starting to grow. It's almost 20% of the population now use these services regularly, and 32% would pay $8 to get items delivered on the same day. So, you know, as I mentioned, Amazon Dash is a service they're testing in a few markets. Most people in the country think that Amazon Dash product was an April Fool's joke because they announced it on April Fool's Day. But literally in Dallas and DC and a couple of other markets, they actually have Dash. It's a button you can push in your home to order. So it's really a pseudo subscription-based service, but they'll literally deliver it to your home same day for an incremental charge of $8. And so as this category is starting to grow and more players are getting into it, you're going to see more and more same day and within the hour type delivery. But definitely the consumer sees a big value in that. Grocery and product services, consumers prefer free shipping to try a new service. So if you're trying to get someone to subscribe for consumer product services, that free shipping offer is the driver that's going to create the most business and attract the consumer, be the best offer. Amazon Prime today is Amazon Prime Day, and if you're not aware of that, I'm sure you are because they've been advertising it everywhere. It's really a first for Amazon, but for their Prime members, they get free shipping on most things, and today is sort of their Black Friday. They're having all kinds of sales just to promote and engage more people in Amazon Prime. But that free shipping is really important, and using a validated reward. So we do a lot of free shipping type rewards for our customer, and just having the consumer go in and validate their purchase, again, saves on the theft and pilfer gene. It also helps keep down the cost so that they're not exorbitant. So a little bit, we're going to take you on an overview of our wireless study drill down. This is an extension out of our subscription services study. Just kind of look at demos. So we looked at individual plans, family plans, people that have work group plans, and also how many smartphones shoppers had. So we can slice all this data. 87% of consumers we found have smartphones in their plans. 83% use smartphones themselves. And those numbers are, they look a little bit higher than the latest Nielsen and some of the other stats that come out just by a few percentage points, but you have to keep in mind this is very fresh data. Literally, this wireless study we just completed in June. So these numbers are very fresh, and so that's why you see cell phone up. And every year after the holiday season, smartphone penetration grows, but over time, by June, the numbers are up quite a bit from the previous holiday season. So smartphone users, just based on product, I think everybody saw the numbers that Apple accounts for 94% of, right now, 94% of all smartphone profits, but Android is still the dominant platform. Go ahead, next slide. Other devices, 69% of folks have tablets in their household, 30% have 2 or more tablets. And smartphone owners really are devouring data like never before. So when they had tablets, they were devouring it, but the plans have gotten richer, and the wireless providers have gotten smarter about providing mega buckets of data. And so you've got 79% of consumers regularly watching videos on their smartphone. That number's way up from last year. It's up by about 15%. 77% are playing video games on their smartphone, and those video games that they're playing are not just app-based, they're actually connected to the web. And then 43% are making video calls on their smartphones, which that's a huge number. Video calls a few years ago was in the single digit. So people are really starting to devour their family plans and their rollover minutes. So saving money, 75% of adult consumers in the US feel they get appropriate value for their current wireless provider. 83% believe that they save money on their phone bill, and the ways that they are saving is they're using Wi-Fi whenever possible. So the beautiful thing about that is they're using Wi-Fi a lot, they're streaming video, they're doing that stuff at home, but then they create that habit and they want that content all the time. So when they walk outside of their footprint, a lot of times they're not in the footprint, they're starting to use more data, and they've been pushing up their data plans, is what they're telling us. And they actually see data plans as a good value because they couldn't live without their video. They don't like it when it's slow and not working. 41% use free tools and apps, and 38%, so to save money, they're using free tools and apps on their phone to help them monitor. 38% actually track their data use. They're checking in regularly to manage and monitor. And then 15% switch wireless providers whenever possible. And that's the way they're saving money. Propensity to switch, the greatest propensity to switch are folks in the over $200,000 income category. I show this number to a lot of people, and they're very surprised by it, but we're seeing it across the board. We're seeing it in the automotive industry. We're seeing it in employee rewards and incentives. We're seeing it in retail. The 200,000 plus income family is being crunched more than anybody else at this point. Their standard of living has been challenged. They're trying to maintain what they have, and now they've gotten in the game, and they're very, very savvy and always looking for a deal. And actually, they have the greatest propensity to switch. They also have the most family plans, the most data use. So that's a really, really strong market that everybody's going after. But really across the board, you have the propensity to switch is in the teens. And as you will see, as we get into a little bit more here, the right incentives will get most people to consider to switch. Also, from an age perspective, age 50 to 59 has the greatest propensity to switch, but really across the board, you're in the teens to switch wireless providers. Men switch a little more than women. Go ahead. And then individual plans switch more than family plans. Family plans tend to be really sticky. It's hard to get everybody's phones because people do upgrades and other things all on the same page. However, the wireless buyout plans where a new provider will pay your termination fees is starting to change that family plan, and we've actually seen family plan users switching. Those numbers are up quite a bit from last year. So wireless carrier, who is your wireless carrier? Now this is from our survey. Our survey is representative of the country. If you look at market share, it's pretty reflective of total market. Verizon and AT&T right at the top. T-Mobile, and then Sprint and others. Most of the folks down at the bottom are all pay-as-you-go. So collectively, if you start looking at the pay-as-you-go, they're growing quite a bit. What's interesting is we ask, who would you consider for your next wireless carrier if you were going to switch? And you'll notice that T-Mobile's consideration is extraordinarily high, almost on par with the two market leaders versus their actual market share. Can you click back real quick? So if we go back, you'll see T-Mobile's market share there. It looks like it's about 13% of U.S. adults have T-Mobile, but in consideration, it's right on par with Verizon and AT&T. And Sprint isn't doing too bad. It's up there in the consideration set, but it's not performing at the extreme levels of T-Mobile. Now, if you go back to our omni-channel study, it says for products like wireless, usually they're only looking at 2 providers. And I would say if we went and took that snapshot right now, I would definitely say they're considering at least 3. I think that pattern is changing, and T-Mobile has changed that game. Current providers, those that don't have a contract that we surveyed, 42% said they were out of contract or don't use a contract. 12% have less than 6 months. So half the market is in play most of the time. So that's pretty surprising. As consumers have gotten savvy, these numbers have gotten much, much bigger. So you're seeing a lot more churn and a lot less stability. 86% would renew early. So these are folks with contracts. They would renew early for a phone upgrade and a $300 bonus reward. But we ran price elasticity on that. 86%. Now remember, only a handful said that they would switch providers. About 15% said they would switch providers, but literally the vast majority said, you know what, we would renew early in our plan for a $300 bonus reward. So if you think about all those folks at 6 months, and then you see all kinds of offers being thrown at them, it behooves most wireless carriers to get out there earlier, not be afraid to let them know their contract's coming up and give them an offer. But what's nice when you run the price elasticity, if you're paying that $300 bonus reward for early sign up, you might be overpaying, because if you look down at, offering a $100 reward, you could get about 81% of the market taking that. So for just that 5% incremental, you might want to stack your rewards. Hit the consumer first with a $100 reward, and then when they don't take, you might bounce back to those exclusive folks and bump it up to 200 or 300, rather than just going out with that $300 early bonus sign up. Upgrading a smartphone. So most preferred way to upgrade a smartphone, contract renewal with a discount on the phone is still popular. That used to be the primary way. It's still the majority, but a lot of folks are paying for their phone up front, and another large portion are doing contract renewal with payments for a new smartphone. So they're actually making phone payments throughout their bill, and we're seeing that grow the most. The industry is really changing. The wireless carriers are kind of pushing that because they're trying to be more transparent and advertise that everyday lower price for services and not masking the cost of the phones anymore. Loyalty programs. So there are a few major carriers out there with loyalty programs. We know Verizon Wireless has one. There's some other folks that have really nice loyalty programs. 17% right now of adults in the U.S. belong to a wireless loyalty program. Of those who belong, 77% rate the program as excellent or a good value. 23% are really neutral or find minimal value in the program. So there's a little bit of waste there. You're hitting about 13% of your population, but it does make them sticky, and there is good value in that. And we did look at loyalty as a potential incentive. I don't think we're covering all these numbers in here, but for those loyalty customers, there are opportunities to get them to stay. They will, even if they're considering other folks, if they're in a loyalty program, there's bonuses you can put in their loyalty program to get them to stay. Pay-as-you-go customers. So this is beautiful. Pay-as-you-go has been growing. It used to be a portion of the market that sort of got overlooked or ignored or not talked about, but it's gotten so big and aggressive. It's up in the high teens now as a percent of the category that everybody really has to look at it and think about it in a different way. We wanted to say, hey, you're paying as you go every month. Is there a chance for us to put you in a contract? And surprisingly, there are. We ran some different offers here, but 62% would consider a one-year contract at the same month-to-month cost for a $200 sign-up bonus. So if you gave them a sign-up bonus and said, basically, here's what you've been spending the past few months, why don't you sign up for 1 year and we'll give you a sign-up bonus, 62% said they would do that. But you can save a lot of money by making that sign-up bonus $100 or offering a free tablet. 58% would consider a one. So of the pay-as-you-go customers, 58% would consider a one-year contract if the costs were the same as their average month-to-month for a $100 sign-up bonus. So that's a big reward. But if you figure you've got them locked in a contract and you have the opportunity to cross-sell them other services, you can build up their average a little bit higher. Then provides a lot more stability in that pay-as-you-go category. That's okay. We'll just switch real quick. The family plan customers, 58% would consider switching providers for a $200 prepaid bonus and an upgrade for all phones. So that family plan, they're super sticky. They don't switch, but if you put the right offers in front of them, and we put in here a lot of different offers, and we can share those with you in a one-on-one, but you can definitely get family plans to switch early and to actually switch providers. And that's a really rich, obviously the richest type of customer because they've got multiple phones, they're buying the most data, and it can get expensive because they want to upgrade their phones, but with the right incentives, you can definitely get them to switch. So we'll switch gears now really quick. I promised we'd be done at 11:35. I think I'm going to be about 5 minutes over. So this is a proprietary study, another extension out of our super subscriber study. It's really focused on cable content. As I mentioned, ESPN's making big headlines right now with the layoffs, and they're saying their subscriber base is down. HBO kind of blew everybody's mind by rolling out a product, and now Showtime's doing it completely standalone of cable because they really have to. They really have to do this because their market is dwindling, and Netflix is now bigger than HBO worldwide. So we're just going to look at a few things in here. We'll go through this quickly, but there's a really compelling opportunity here for this category that has not been tapped, and there's great opportunities for partnerships with wireless and broadband. So we'll click through the demos on this. Now, we talked about this earlier, but 51% stream TV or movies, and only 38% have a premium cable or basic cable package. So that streaming audience is already much bigger than the premium cable audience, and it will surpass all of cable at this rate, at the rate it's growing very quickly. So we said, we looked at different consideration groups, and I'll spend a little bit of time on this, and as we show you the variations, I'll go through it a little bit quicker. But for HBO Now consideration by age and income, we just said, would you consider subscribing to HBO Now? And as you look at age and income, it varies, but HBO is very appealing to folks, especially free and unbundled from cable. It has a very high value. It's a very well-respected brand, and from a consideration set, it outperforms Netflix. So it's interesting. Just coming cold into the market, yeah, people are interested in HBO Now. And HBO Now, most of the time when it launches, like it's on Amazon, it's on iTunes, it's in a few other places, they use that conventional offer, and that is get a free month. Sign up for a month and get a free month. Now keep in mind, they're a subscription-based service, and so signing up for a month and getting a free month is really, requires a lot of work to keep people coming back. So Netflix has done a great job getting people to sign up and stay sticky and happy. We're going to show you some things that we think HBO Now and other cable-type content in partnership with wireless carriers and internet providers could really make some hay. So streaming subscribers, 50% subscribe to a streaming service like Netflix. Of those folks, 16% said they would try a streaming service by purchasing a $50 gift card for 4 months and $10 savings. Now we asked, if we put a gift card in a grocery store, for just any streaming service. And you got 4 months on that gift card, and it was $10 savings, and it's a $50 gift card. Would you try that product? 16% of streaming subscribers said, yeah, we would try that. Now, if you think about it, that's not even a free month of service of HBO Now. So that's actually a cheaper offer than HBO is currently putting out in the market, period. And you've got folks signed up for 4 months versus 2 months, with one of the months free. So that alone, even though that number, 16% of those that stream, that's still a really big number. And that doesn't have any of the other tricks that we put in it here. I wouldn't say tricks, nice marketing tactics. So then those who wouldn't consider HBO Now, 33% would consider HBO Now streamed through the internet. 49% would try HBO Now by purchasing a $50 gift card for 4 months. So this is folks who said they would not consider HBO Now. Then we said, but it's streamed through the internet, and they said, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense to us. So 33% said, okay, yeah, well, we would consider that in that way after we explained it to them. Then we said, okay, well, would you purchase a $50 gift card for 4 months savings for 4 months with a $10 savings from a grocery store? 49% said, yeah, I would do that. I would consider that. And then of those, 44% would give HBO Now as a gift by purchasing a $50 gift card for 4 months. So the self-use is actually much greater than the gift use on it. Then we said, hey, let's look at this. Would you purchase a $50 HBO Now gift card for 4 months and a free month after sign-up, which would be a $25 savings? Now, I don't want to get too complicated here, but you're getting the vast majority of people, about 25 million people of the total population, said they would consider that. In effect, what you're doing is getting people to sign up for 5 months of HBO, and that $25 savings that you're offering them with the breakage is going to cost you about $17.50. A free month of HBO is $15. So for almost the same offer HBO is putting in the market to push 2 months, they could be getting folks to sign up for 5 months by simply putting a gift card in a grocery store and adding a post-purchase incentive to it. So probably a little bit heady here because we're getting into numbers, but we ran this across the board. Those who would not consider HBO Now, and then we looked at, go ahead and click through. We looked at other types of incentives, and most of those who would not consider, we can still pull a substantial amount of those consumers with the same kind of offers. And we did this across the board in various categories by age and income, and we'll click through that and just get to the end for the summary because we're out of time here. But if you would like to see more on that content, the big play there, because we know we've got some wireless providers on the phone and we also have some broadband providers. Those, for instance, HBO, for them to put a gift card in market, they need a partner. So they need, and we work with folks like iTunes and Amazon, but they need a co-branded card because they need someone to stand up their HBO Now. So if you were a wireless company and you wanted to stand them up on a portal as HBO Now, and I'm not here to promote this for HBO, I'm just telling you for most cable companies to put a gift card in store with the way we offered it, they need a partner like a broadband provider or a wireless provider that creates the portal where then consumers can go and access the content. So we hypothesize that because we see a trend moving in that direction. But particularly because we have a lot of broadband and wireless folks on here, we just want to say that's a big opportunity for you to cash in as people are unplugging and using more wireless and more broadband. So a really quick summary here. Internet is the #1 subscription service. Wireless is #2. Cable's decreasing. Streaming and digital download are larger than basic or premium subscriber base. Opportunity for cable to package on demand as an alternative subscription product for basic subscribers. $10 prepaid is the best incentive to drive subscription music service. 18% subscribe to consumer product delivery service. Validated free shipping is the best offer. Smartphone penetration continues to climb. It's driving greater data use and need for expanded pool data plans. Family plans are very sticky. 11% have more than one plan, but you can get them to switch with the right incentives early, and you can get a substantial amount of them to switch. Smartphone users are devouring video. The 200,000 plus 50 to 59-year-olds are the biggest switchers in wireless. T-Mobile has disproportionate share of consideration versus market share. 42% have no contracts at all. 25 have expired, and 17% are pay-as-you-go. Majority of contracts will renew early for the right incentives. Wireless pay-as-you-go would move to a contract for similar terms with a Visa prepaid sign-up bonus. And the last thing, streaming services. HBO Now has the strongest consideration, significantly greater than Netflix. And again, we have no vested interest. We're not promoting, I want to say very clearly, we're not promoting HBO. We're not promoting Netflix. We've actually, we are partners with a lot of content folks, so we have no preference, and I don't want that to come across as a sell for HBO. This is just straight out research that we're doing. Selling multiple month bundles with a savings equivalent to the same costs as a free month will drive significant incremental purchases, and then offering a post-purchase incentive on a gift card bundle will significantly pull trial from all categories. Last slide. So if you would like more information, you would like a drill down, if you're a wireless provider or some of the other providers we put on here, music provider, we can pull the data out and actually show you what your customer said and what your competitors' customers said. We'd be happy to have those discussions one-on-one. You can reach me at rodney.mason@bhengagement.com. I also put my Twitter handle on there. I'm one of the most followed marketers in the world. I have about 118,000 Twitter followers. Also all over LinkedIn. But we also have all the Blackhawk Engagement social sites that we'd like you to follow because we think you'll really find value in that. So if you have questions or would like to learn more, just let us know, and we'd be happy to follow up. Thank you.